Welcome to the Transform Your Wealth and Health podcast, where experts in wealth, health, and fitness help transform your life. Here's your host, Andy Arter.
She started her property life £60,000 in debt, and over the next 2.5 years, transitioned to being debt-free and having lots of fun. Today's guest is Sarah Poynton-Ryan. Sarah, how are we doing?
I'm amazing, thank you. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm absolutely great. Thank you. Sarah, you've got an interesting story to tell, and we were talking a tiny bit about it earlier, and you're coming up with more and more surprising things as we were chatting. Yeah. And some of the stuff you've done is very, very linkable to the people that listen. So I wondered if you'd give us a brief intro and let us know what you do and how you do it and your past as well.
Yeah, of course, no problem. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to do this podcast. I find it incredible that I can kind of help anybody to kind of come on the journey that I've been on in the last couple of years. It's been a crazy one, but really good fun. To kind of take you back a little bit, from out of university, I went into like a sales job. It was totally by accident, nothing to do with my degree. I listened to a recruitment consultant who told me I'd probably be good at it because I talk a lot, and I'm quite nosy and I ask a lot of questions. So my sales career started like that. I did recruitment for a long time. In 2012, I'd had enough of recruitment, to be honest. It kind of chewed me up and spat me out the other side. It was long hours, and you relied on other people for you to make money, and they had to turn up to work for me to get paid. And I always really struggled with that because not everybody works as hard as others. So it kind of chewed me up and spat me out the other side. And then in 2012, I started my own business, which was a photo booth business. So we used to put photo booths into music events and weddings and corporate events and things like that. And if I'm brutally honest, that business just taught me every single way not to run a business.
Right, you were saying that.
Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever been in business. It was the first time I'd ever tried, and honestly, I was just kind of winging it. I didn't really know what I was doing at all. Who knew that doing your bookkeeping once a year wasn't the way to do it? But apparently not.
Damn, I'm in trouble too then.
Yeah, it was one of those. And so I managed to get myself in a bit of a pickle financially, I guess you would say. So we got married in September 2015, and after we got married, we went away for a week. We went to Colchester for a week, not the holiday dreams. Yeah, it was amazing. We had loads of fun, but it's not really the honeymoon of dreams. And you know, we were talking like most people do, I guess, when they get married, and what should we do next? Should we have children, or should we go traveling, or, you know, all the different things that, you know, the next chapter of our life, what does that look like? And every single time we just started a conversation, it came back to, but we've got no money, and we've got no money, we've got no money. And I think at that point I was working really hard, my husband works hard, and, you know, for us to not be able to kind of progress in our life, it just became a little bit much for me. I decided that was enough. I'd heard a little bit about bits of property, and I'd heard about different strategies like rent to rent and packaging and you know, lease options and, you know, service accommodation, all these different buzzwords that we hear. And I decided on that trip, so that was October 2015, that I was going to try and give rent to rent a shot. Do
you want to explain a little bit what rent to rent is to the uninitiated?
Yeah, absolutely. So rent to rent, where you rent a property, so you become the tenant of a property, but you're granted permission to sublet that property to other people by the landlord. So it's a very transparent subletting model, basically. And the way that we make our money as a rent to rent operator is we pay a single rent value to the landlord, but we have a rental income value that's higher, so we kind of keep the difference. After our operational costs, we keep the difference. So the thing about rent to rent and why it was attractive to me was because actually, in truth, I was told you didn't need any money to get started in rent to rent. I very quickly found out that that's not true. You do need a little bit of money because you need to be able to pay things like your first month's rent, and you need to furnish houses, and there's a few like bits at the beginning that you do need to fund, but it definitely has a very low entry point in terms of funds. So you can basically take control of a property and create a cash flowing business quite quickly. And so in the November of 2015, I decided that was it. I was definitely going to be doing that. And on the 23rd of December 2015, I signed up my first rent-to-rent house. By the 8th of January that next year, it was filled and it was making me money. That house gives me probably about $750 cash flow per month every month, and it's on a 5-year term. So I was quite pleased with that, but I was still learning, and I've gone on to kind of build a rent-to-rent portfolio business. What I've also done, or what I did as kind of a secondary thing, was I learned that I can also source on behalf of other investors, so people that want to build their portfolios. I've got a skill set which allows me to source and secure houses either at a discount or to do rent-to-rent in or whatever strategy. And I've created a business where I now do that on behalf of other investors that want to build their portfolios as well, who maybe don't have the time or the inclination or the skill to be able to negotiate like I do. So yeah, in 2016, I built my rent-to-rent portfolio, and I built a packaging business, so a portfolio building business. And it's kind of spiraled from there. The most recent development of the business is I've got a goal to build 10 houses in 2018.
So when you say build, what do you mean by build them? You're going to actually build them from scratch?
Yeah, I'm not going to be putting the bricks down.
No.
But I will be, doing the work to find the sites. We're looking at either commercial to residential units or new builds, where we are basically going to be turning buildings or land into homes, safe, warm, comfortable homes for people. Right. Which 2.5 years ago, if someone had said to me in 2015, by the end of 2018, you could have built 10 houses, I'd have told them that there was absolutely no way at all. Yeah. So it's been a bit of a crazy couple of years. It's gone very, very fast, very big learning curve, very steep learning curve. But honestly, it's the most fun I've ever had.
Okay, so you've definitely transitioned and moved things on and transformed your wealth, so to speak. So what's your main goals in life nowadays?
So I think there's kind of 2 prongs to this. I think my underlying goal to most things that I do is I really want to create a lifestyle for myself, and when I get round to having children, a lifestyle where if I'm going to be a mum, I can genuinely be a mum, and I don't have to, miss the school plays and be in the corporate space. That's not for me. I want to be able to have the freedom and the flexibility to do, the things that I want to do, and have the time and the space to spend with the people I want to spend it with. When my nan passed away in 2017, and because I work for myself, I was able to, spend time with her without feeling guilty about it, and be in the hospice with her. And, I want a life where actually I can do that. And that's what I'm trying to create for myself. So that kind of sits underneath everything. But in terms of, the business goals and the growth goals, I think creating safe, warm, comfortable. I've got a bit of a vision, which is that I believe that everybody kind of has the right to wake up in a safe, warm, comfortable bed. Yeah. And so everything we do in the business, it drives towards that. It's creating, good quality homes, affordable homes, whether it's a rent-to-rent basis or whether it's a building of a house. We're trying to do that. We're working a lot with charities locally to try and reduce homelessness in the area by providing accommodation into the social sector. There's quite a few different things I'm doing, but really it all kind of links to creating something I can feel proud of every day. And I can go into, when I walk into my office, I feel excited by everything I do. I can feel like, my mum and my nan are proud of me, and that for me is important. And that really is kind of the underlying, if you like, vision of the business, is to do stuff that just makes me excited and keeps the business growing.
Well, you've certainly done well over the last couple of years, haven't you? What can you tell the listeners if they wanted to progress, what might potentially improve their income?
There's a few things. I think for me, it was about finding a strategy that was low entry cost, because I couldn't get a deposit together to get a buy to let, or to even put a deposit down on a house or anything like that. The thought of me saving up like 40 grand to put a deposit on a house, or 50 grand, or whatever you need these days, usually it's like 25% in my area, that was never ever going to be able to happen. And I guess for your listeners, they might be able to relate to that a little bit. They might be, where I was 2 and a bit years ago, where, the post comes and you try and work out which one of them you're going to pay, because you can't pay them all. I remember that. I remember what that feels like. It wasn't that long ago for me. And I think finding something that allows you to enter without risking an awful lot, I I think for me, gave me that degree of security. You know, my first house, I put £900 into it, and you know, £900 is a lot of money. It was a lot of money to me at the time. It's still a lot of money, but I scrapped around and I got it together because I felt like I was investing in my business, and it worked. I think what helped me was I had a mentor. You know, I didn't try and reinvent the wheel. I just did as I was told. And actually, I met with my mentor today, funnily enough. And one of the things that he said to me was that I just did as I was told. And that was the difference between me and a lot of the other people that he's mentored, is that a lot of people take the advice and then turn it into their version. And then actually they don't get the same results. And I think it's Tony Robbins that says, you know, if you want to be successful in something, find somebody that's doing it, model what they do, and you'll see the same results. And I genuinely lived and died by that concept. And you know, I followed my mentor's rules and the advice he gave me literally to the letter. And actually I've gone on to probably grow my business quicker than he grew his business, because I had the support of him, and I just followed the rules, and I didn't have to make the same mistakes that he made. And so yeah, I think having a mentor is definitely something that I never had. I've never had that in my life before. And if I'd had it when I started my first business, would the results have been different? Probably. I think having a mentor and somebody that you can, you know, call on when you're worried about the decisions that you're making. I think one of the things for me was having that safety net. If I wasn't sure I was making the right decision, I would kind of use him as a sounding board, and he would either say, you're being ridiculous, this is never going to work, which he did say a few times, or he'd say, actually, yeah, if it was me, I would take that deal. And it was just that reassurance, I think, that really, really helped me to build my confidence. You know, I'm reasonably confident now. Actually, I tend to just make decisions now, but it wasn't like that then. So find something that you can, that's kind of, you know, a reasonably low entry point. You package in rent to rent. If property is something you're excited about, then learning how to source and package like I do, or learning rent to rent, is two very, you know, they're not easy strategies, but they are certainly a reasonably low entry point that you could get started in quite quickly. And also get a mentor and someone you trust, someone you work with, someone you can get on with, and somebody that can help you to grow towards your goals that you're trying to get to.
Gotcha. So I was going to ask you, if you were starting again, what would you do now, knowing what you know? But I think that's probably the number one thing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think I'd have started sooner if I'd have known. You know, I really wish I'd known this when I was 21. Yeah, there's a couple of people that I've trained recently. I've got one of my one students. He's 21, and yeah, I look at him and I feel envious sometimes. I think, bloody hell, if someone had showed me this stuff when I was 21, my world would be a really different place now. But at the same time, I don't regret anything that I went through, because it's all part of the journey. And, you know, maybe I wouldn't appreciate it as much as I do now had I not gone through the hard times that I went through. So I think I'd love to have started a bit sooner. Would I do anything differently? I would try not to do everything myself, because when I started out, I definitely spread myself maybe a little bit too thinly, because I'm not really good at saying no. It's not something I'm great. It's something I'm definitely learning how to do. I'm a bit of a people pleaser, and I think I'll go, yeah, I can do that. And all of a sudden, I was working like 80, 90 hours in a week, and actually I wasn't getting anywhere, and I was doing lots of things not very well. And so I think I would try to be more focused than I was when I started. And now I'm very focused. There's some very clear things in my business that I do, and I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going, I know what I'm trying to get to, and I know every day when I come in what I've got to get done to move forwards towards those goals. And so my focus, I think I would, if I had my time again, I would try and get more focused more quickly.
Okay. So what makes you different from other people in your field?
I guess it's me that makes me different.
I think you're right.
It sounds like a silly answer, but I feel proud of everything I do every day. I don't really compare myself to other people. I think actually if you get into the trap of saying, well, you know, he's billed this much this year and she's doing this and she's doing that, I think you find actually it becomes a really negative place to be. I think I only really compete with myself. And, you know, I know that my best month I've ever had is £33,000 in a month. So I know that I'm fighting against that. Actually, it doesn't matter to me if someone else is billing 50 grand a month, because, you know, their situation and my situation is different. And so I think what makes me different is definitely me. And I think my approach to things is very honest and transparent. I guess everybody says that though, so I'm not sure really what that means. But I think the underlying values that I have that are really ingrained in me from my grandparents, I think, is, I guess, that provided I feel proud of myself every day, and that my mum and people like that feel proud of me every day, and I can talk I've got this thing called my nan benchmark. So if I can go and have a conversation with my nan about a deal that I'm doing, and I feel confident that it's a fair deal for everybody, and she would agree, then I know that that's a deal that I can do. There's some deals that come up, things like, we have deals that come across our table where it might be a little old couple who are having to sell their house cheap to downsize or to move into care or something like that. There are some people in my industry, unfortunately, who will screw every possible penny out of it to do themselves a favour. And I think that's the wrong way to do business. I think the way I earn my money is a consequence of just doing a good job for all the parties involved. And I have that kind of my nan as the benchmark, is that if I can feel proud telling her about what I'm doing, then I know that I'm making the right move against the customers that I've got. And I think I genuinely earn my money as a consequence of doing a good job for the customers I work for.
So how would a day-to-day role go for you? If you're going to come in the morning, what generally happens? And when you're saying about the deals that you do for people, how does it get structured?
Okay, so a typical day in the life of Sarah Poynton. Wow. It starts with coffee every day.
Lots of.
I do not function without a hit of caffeine. I try, if I can, to kind of get out and do a bit of exercise in the morning, a bit of even just a walk, or I go to the gym, or go to weight training with my personal trainer. I tend to do that early because it gets it out of the way, because it's not something I really enjoy, if I'm brutally honest. I'm definitely not a 5 a.m. club girl. I'm a get up and have a coffee and get on with my day. So I try and do my exercise in the morning so I don't have to do it later. And then when I get into the office, I usually do a Facebook Live most mornings with just like a little kind of, I guess, part accountability. I've got a Facebook group, so I like to share as much content and value in there as I can. So I do that while I'm making my coffee most mornings. And then depending what part of the business we're concentrating on, it depends on what I do each day. But if I was sourcing and packaging for an investor, for example, we spend a lot of our time doing research into the properties, the returns that we can get, the likelihood of that property being a viable move for the investor, putting together the speaking to the councils if it's an HMO, and finding out what needs to happen to get that property in a good condition. That's all part of the role of being a sourcer. So we're sourcing, it's just research. There's a lot of research that goes into it, and negotiation, because we obviously need to get the prices agreed and all of those sorts of things. If I'm doing things like my development projects, then, it could be me, like tomorrow I'm spending the whole day with my mentor and my planning consultant and my project manager to look over where we're at in the project, and, to set the next milestones. So that's a whole day tomorrow. I guess you'd call me a property entrepreneur. I don't do the same thing every day. I do a mix of things. And then when I want a day off, I take one. Why not? Yeah, I work late some nights, so I'll start early some days. But, I have a pretty nice lifestyle. I'm very lucky to have the lifestyle that I have, I think.
Do you teach anybody else to do what you do as a mentor yourself?
Yeah, so I started as a trainer when I was in recruitment. So I used to train sales and negotiation to junior recruitment consultants coming into the business. And so I've been a trainer for a long, long time. And when I first started the property business, I was asked a lot if I would train people, and I said no for a really long time, because I really just wanted to concentrate on building my property business. So, Monday to Friday, typically I'll spend running my property business, but then I do have some space in my diary. I do about 3 clients a month where I do one-to-one training. So if someone wants to start, a rent-to-rent portfolio, or start a packaging business, or just work on how to develop their marketing and their sales and the business growth plan, then I have one-to-one clients that will come maybe spend 2 days with me, or I did one today that was half a day, and we train in that way. What I don't do is run big classrooms of 50 or 100 people. We have 4 events a year which focus on skills development, but again, that's where clients will come and work on their business with me as their coach, as opposed to me just talking at them. But yeah, we do some training.
Okay. And do you have any offers or anything for the Transform Your Wealth and Health listeners at all?
Yes. The best thing that I would recommend the listeners to do is to start with my ebook, which basically a guide, the ultimate guide to getting started as a property sourcer. I believe that sourcing property, whether you're going to source to keep and build your own portfolio or source to package up and sell for other people, you have to learn how to source to start with. So I wrote an ebook that is free for you guys to download. It will come as a PDF on an email. You just put your email address in and it will send it on. And yeah, I would start with that. And then from there, you can find out a bit more about what we do.
How can people get that ebook then? What's the best way to contact you?
So the best way to get in touch with me directly is just to email me. So my email address is letstalk, LETSTALK, at Rent Guaranteed. So RENTGUARANTEED at the end, .UK. So there's no co, it's just .UK. That comes directly to me, so I'm happy for you to email, introduce yourself, let me know all about you, and I will come back to you and answer any questions that you've got. And also I'll make sure that the link for the download is in the show notes for Andy as well.
Thank you. Just getting towards the end of the show now, I ask people whether they've got any stories that they can tell, just to sort of play on our heartstrings a little bit. Anyone that you've sort of helped that was a bit desperate and down and they've now sort of changed their life around, because the whole idea of what I do is to try and help people transition from their point A to their point B. And I just wondered if you might have anybody that you've helped spring to mind.
Well, interestingly, this week, I think actually I've had some really good news from two of my students. Who one's on my one-to-one accountability program, which is like a weekly one-to-one call, which she did 2 days training with me 56 days ago from today, and on Friday of last week, so it was like 54 days since she left her training. Not only did she do her first deal, i.e. she's gone through like the sourcing process, she's negotiated it, she's met with the vendors, she's managed to make the offer, get the offer accepted and all those sorts of things. She's not just done one, but she's done 3 with the same vendor.
Wow.
She's taken 3 apartments outside the Excel building in London.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's life-changing. I mean, the prices down that end of the world as well can be quite horrendous. So she may very well done an incredible deal here.
Yeah, she's managed to get them on a lease option. So
right.
3 apartments on an option. The cash flow is going to be about £3,800 net per month. So she's gone from 0 to that in one deal, and she's got them on a 5-year purchase lease option agreement, which for those of you that don't know what that is, it basically means that you rent it and you have the option to purchase it at a pre-agreed price. So as the market shifts over the next 5 years, and you know London prices are always going to be reasonably high, she will be able to make a profit not only in the cash flow every month, but also when she exercises her option, she will realise the equity from the capital appreciation of those units as well. So yeah, it's potentially a life-changing deal, that one. You know, for a lot of people, £3,500 a month would more than replace an income. You know, I know people that have trained with me who are earning, you know, £2,000 a month. So just in that one negotiation, that one agreement, that's given her for the next 5 years a cash flow of, you know, it's about £3,800 plus the profit that she's going to make when she actually buys them. So yeah, massive deal. I had a client in today, and they were struggling with how to raise the finance to complete on a buy-to-let deal. Spent half a day basically running through all the different options and putting together a bit of an action plan, and we've kind of we've actually got we've managed to sort it out on the day, and she's that will be closed out and completed probably in the next 6 weeks now. So you know, it's, I think in terms of stories, every success that I can talk about in terms of people that I've helped have been the people that have gone out and actually done the work. There is no magic pill to this. There's no, I can give you this information and you will naturally make money. You have to go out and you have to put into action what you're talking about. That doesn't mean you have to do everything overnight. Even if you just do one thing a day every day. I don't know if anyone's read The Slight Edge. It's a good book. If you guys haven't read that already, I definitely recommend reading it. It basically talks about how your circumstances that you're in now are basically a build-up of all the individual choices that you've ever made. So if you decide today that you're going to start choosing tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day forever to do things differently, the results will stack up eventually, but you have to go out and just do a little bit consistently and relentlessly, and the results will come.
Brilliant. Okay then. So finishing up now, do you have any little tips or tricks you can give us before you go?
Enjoy what you do and be proud of what you do. And in terms of, I also think it's really important to realise that everything is up for negotiation. If you're looking for rental properties, ignore the asking price, work out your offer, make your offer and leave it there. If you're looking at sourcing houses to buy, then make your offer. Whatever your offer is that makes it a viable deal for you, make your offer, leave it there, and just keep revisiting it, because everything's open to negotiation. You just need to find the midpoint that works for everybody, and that's where the deal is.
Brilliant. Okay, Sarah, thanks very much for coming on the show.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for listening, everyone.
I hope you enjoyed that episode, and until next time, start transforming your wealth and health now.